Just like the Incredible Hulk, boxers and mixed martial artists can transform into real beasts when the fight starts. But how does adrenaline-fueled rage really affect power? And can that rage be created in a test tube?
This is a medical experiment unlike any test we've ever done. Because what we want to know is what creates more punching power, natural adrenaline or an adrenaline shot?
To answer this question, we hit the Sports Science Sport Court and brought in a fighter who feeds on rage, Houston the Assassin Alexander. This light heavyweight burst onto the MMA scene with legendary knockout power.
Well, right before the fight, a change does happen. This rage starts building up. There's this adrenaline rush that I can't control. I start getting into this pit bull mentality. This is how you throw the perfect punch. You square up on your opponent, squared right here, right in his face. You generate the energy from your foot to your butt to your shoulder to your arm. You square up and you start twerking like this.
What we're looking at is the effects of adrenaline on punching power. What we're going to do is we're going to have you do a baseline punch. Then we're going to see what natural adrenaline does to your punching power. In the final stage, we're going to inject you with pure adrenaline.
Wow. And I got enough adrenaline already, so that's going to be incredible, man, to see what the reaction is with extra adrenaline. So we'll see.
We're going to see if you are a real-life Incredible Hulk.
No question, no doubt about it.
There are numerous well-documented cases of athletes using illegal stimulants like speed or cocaine in an attempt to improve performance. Injecting someone with epinephrine or synthetic adrenaline will replicate the effects of those drugs and will also allow us to compare how artificial stimulants stack up against the power of the body's natural adrenaline. This is an incredibly dangerous experiment because injecting someone with adrenaline is extremely risky. Houston could go into cardiac arrest or worse. So we start the test slowly to get a baseline when he's cool and calm.
I'm ready to go.
We've wired the Hybrid 3 crash test dummy with an array of special force sensors that will measure the power of Houston's punch.
Houston, you're getting ready?
Houston generates 600 pounds of force. That's like literally getting hit in the face with a hammer.
The next stage is for us to allow your body to produce its own adrenaline. Now, do you have some sort of pre-fight routine or anything to psych you up?
Well, there's a 30-second drill that we do. That's when everything just goes berserk.
So we want you to go berserk. We're going to have you do your 30-second routine. We're going to build up as much natural adrenaline as you have.
All right.
Then we're going to have you punch the dummy again. You ready to do it?
No problem.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
So how are we going to get him angry? Well, we sure don't want to make him mad, but this guy will. Houston's trainer, Mick Doyle.
Well, when you're around a fighter as many hours a day as a coach is, you get to know what makes them tick. You experience their highs and you experience the lows with them.
A good coach figures out a way to
to teach that all these experiences, the highs and the lows, are all important and they're part of the process in making it and creating a champion.
Mick's job is to get Houston's adrenaline flowing, to get him as angry as possible for the second punch.
Hey, remember that feeling in your gut when you lost that fight? I want all that rage that you experienced when you lost and all the disappointment, I want it building up inside you right now. Houston, I want that rage, man. You know the feeling I'm talking about in that dressing room, the disappointment. I need it. I need it. Come on, man. Get fired up. Let me see it. Let me see it. You got me? Hit that thing. Let's go. All that rage, I want it right now. I want you to unleash that beast. Come on, man. Are you ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right,
ready to
do
go.
it. Unleash the beast, Houston. Come on. Hit that thing.
Obviously emotional for you. I mean, what is the button that got pressed?
It's the fear of failure. I don't like losing. I hate losing. I hate losing.
How much punching force did an amped-up, adrenaline-fueled Houston generate? A hammering 1,000 pounds. That's 400 pounds more force than he produced in his baseline test.
You need to relax. It's just a test, man. It's just science. That's all. Just the nuts and bolts. Breathe. Slow. Relax. Relax.
So how does adrenaline amp us up? Our motion capture technology gives us an inside look at how adrenaline punches the gas and puts us in overdrive. When we're in danger, our adrenal glands flood the body with natural adrenaline. This adrenaline causes the heart to beat faster and redistributes blood to the brain and muscles. The muscles can then receive more than 5 times the normal amount of oxygenated blood, which allows bursts of amplified strength and speed.
Houston was able to get his heart rate to 150 by emotion and self-generated emotion.
The sports science chief medical advisor, Dr. Basil Eish, is supervising this experiment, and he's astonished at Houston's performance.
That kind of rage, that kind of fear is the kind of emotion that generates epinephrine in the body and allows someone to channel force and power.
So whipping Houston into a fury unleashed a flood of natural adrenaline, resulting in an additional 400 pounds of pure punching force. But we've got one more stage of the test. How will Houston's punching power be affected when we actually inject him with a double shot of pure adrenaline?
Shot of adrenaline.
I can feel it running through my veins.
We began this test with a simple question. Does adrenaline really increase performance? Could added adrenaline allow mixed martial arts star Houston the Assassin Alexander to actually punch with more force? We first established a baseline to see how hard Houston hits without adrenaline. Then we got him mad. Really mad.
All that rage, I want it right now. I want you to unleash that beast. Come on, man. You can do this. No more disappointment anymore. Let's go.
Flooded with natural adrenaline, Houston hit the crash test dummy with an amazing 1,000 pounds of force. That's 400 pounds, or 60% more force than he produced during the baseline. Now, there's one last test to run. How hard will Houston hit when we actually inject him with a shot of pure adrenaline? But giving someone an injection of adrenaline or epinephrine can be extremely dangerous. Too much can burst blood vessels, trigger cardiac arrest, and in the worst case scenario, even cause death. Because this is the first sports science test with potentially tragic consequences, our Chief Medical Advisor, Dr. Basil Aish, has taken extensive precautions and created an emergency safety protocol.
Our safety measures include, the heart rate monitoring that you have, oxygenation monitoring, an automatic defibrillator, oxygen supplementation if we need, and constant monitoring throughout the test.
Dr. Aish begins the final phase of the experiment by ensuring Houston's vital signs are within acceptable ranges.
Houston, we've checked your EKG, it's normal. We've checked your pulse oximetry, it's normal. We've checked your heart rate, it's normal. We've checked your blood pressure, it's normal. All your baseline tests are perfectly normal.
Well, doctor, it's time to get abnormal.
Time to find out how much a dose of artificial adrenaline increases Houston's punching power.
I'm going to give you this shot of adrenaline. The shot's going to go into the upper outside of your thigh.
Dr. Aish gives Houston an injection of 0.3 milligrams of epinephrine. His heart rate spikes.
His heart rate increased to 110, heart rate to 115.
Nowhere near the 150 beats per minute generated by his own natural adrenaline. With no ill effects present, Dr. Aish decides to proceed with a second injection. A total dosage of 0.6 milligrams is extremely potent, as much as an emergency room doctor might give a patient suffering cardiac arrest. It doesn't take long for the epinephrine to saturate the bloodstream, sending Houston's heart rate skyrocketing to 155 beats per minute.
Blood pressure response 156/90. Heart rate response is increased. Epinephrine response is present. How are you feeling, Houston?
I can feel it running through my veins,
You ready to do this?
Right.
Here we go. Line yourself up. Check if he's all right. Houston, I'm going to check your pupils.
How did the injection of epinephrine affect Houston's power? Remember, his baseline punch with no adrenaline registered at 600 pounds of force. Then, enraged by his trainer,
Let me see it! You got me! Hit that thing! Let's go!
his natural adrenaline produced a punch with 1,000 pounds of force. And finally, jacked up on a dose of epinephrine, Houston delivered a punch with only 900 pounds of force. Incredibly, that's less powerful than the one fueled by his trainer's motivation.
When we gave him the shot of epinephrine, which we thought was going to have the same effect or even more, he was only about 900 pounds of force. Now, 100 pounds of force doesn't seem like a lot, but the fact that he can generate that with his own adrenaline was pretty amazing.
It's almost like being able to lift up a truck. It's just a surge of power that it's almost, you almost can't handle. You almost can't control.
Turns out that the second punch you threw, the one that was generated by your own natural adrenaline, created the most force.
Wow, so a lot of fighters are in trouble.
And that's just something that you have locked away inside of you that you can unleash at any moment.
It's locked away. Got the key.
How are you able to just push this guy's button and unleash that beast at a moment's notice?
We spend so much time around each other, we just know what makes you the tick.
Now, are you surprised with the results?
No, not at all. It's up to the coach to try to pull the best out of the athlete at any given time.
This test was probably one of the scariest tests that we've done in sports science. It was probably one of the most dangerous in terms of putting an athlete at risk. Houston really stood up to the occasion. He really pulled something from inside him that we didn't even know he had.
So you have to know how to use that and harness that great power and great strength and great speed that epinephrine gives you. It's being able to direct it towards an opponent rather than letting it direct you. And his mind is strong enough to let that happen.
And unlike the Incredible Hulk, the key to power isn't found in gamma rays or even a needle. To maximize performance, no athlete should ever rely on artificial stimulants, legal or illegal, because nothing works better than the incredible powers of the human mind.